Hello, this is Angelia with today's wisdom. Today's wisdom comes from Daily Ohm. The road to new beginnings. Completion. Life is a collage of beginnings and endings that run together like still wet paint. And, that's true. We start new chapters in our life, we end chapters in our life, and they interlap sometimes, and sometimes there's an end, and then there's a space, and then a beginning, you know? Yet before we can begin any new phase in life, we must sometimes first achieve closure to the current stages we are in. And sometimes you don't get closure. Sometimes it just kind of abruptly stops, and then you kind of have to make your own closure. That's because many of life's experiences call for closure. And especially when you're dealing with other people, you might not get closure. They don't have to give you closure. So you can make closure yourself for yourself. Often, we cannot see the significance of an event or importance of a lesson until we have reached closure. And like I said, if the situation doesn't give you closure, you can make closure yourself. You can, like I said, write something down, tear the paper up, throw it away, write something down, burn it, outside. I used to do that with the coaching clients. Write something on a balloon, let it go. Because closure is important for your mental and emotional state. So even if you can't get closure from the experience or from the person, you need to make that closure for yourself. Or we may have completed a certain phase in life or path of learning and want to honor that ending. Like I said, you can have your own celebration. There was a woman who just was talking about she released her first book, and so she had a party with her friends, and that was a celebration of something. And you should celebrate all your milestones in life. When things, you do something, and when things come to an end. I mean, I had a retirement party, and got a few little nice things for my retirement. But that's important to acknowledge that something has begun or something has ended in your life. Those milestones are important to celebrate. It is this sense of completion that frees us up to open the door to new beginnings. So if you celebrate the end of something, that, or acknowledge it at least, you might not feel like celebrating the end of something, but if you acknowledge it in some way, then that opens the door for new beginnings. Closure serves to tie up or oh my gosh, or sever loose ends, quiets the mind even when questions have been left unanswered, because sometimes that's true. Our mind is dwelling on this thing, and like I say, if we give ourselves closure, if we close the book, so to speak, that gives us closure. We close it for ourselves. We might not get closure from the situation or for someone else, but we can close that chapter ourselves. And we can tie up loose ends. If we feel like there's loose ends, we can tie those up for ourselves. And quiet your mind when the questions have been left unanswered, because sometimes if it's a relationship that's come to an end, there are unanswered questions like, why did this person act like this? I did my best for them. I supported them. I helped them. Why did they treat me like this? So, sometimes we have questions that we'll never get an answer to. It signifies the end of an experience. Now, we might be through something, and that's what I said about, acting, being in a play or movie with people or whatever. When it comes to an end, it's sad because these people become like your little family. While you're rehearsing, practicing, during the shooting or whatever. This is like your little family, and then it comes to an end, and you all go off your own ways, and that's sad. And acknowledge that a change has taken place. And there's been many changes in my life, I know. So it's an acknowledgement. It's like, well, now things are different, so something different has to happen, and that's okay, because life is change, constant change, and you don't have to let it knock you off your feet. And if it does, you can get back up, dust yourself off, and move on. I've done that many a day, you know. The world ain't fair, you know, and sometimes it's going to knock you on your booty. And you just get up, dust yourself off, and go back on. The period of completion, rather than being just an act of finality, is also one of transition. Because when you finish something, you move on to the next thing. When we seek closure, what we really want is an understanding of what has happened and an opportunity to derive what lessons we can from an experience. Because when something ends, we want to think about it like, okay, well, this is at an end now. Why did it end? You might know why it ended, or you might not. It just depends. But you can give yourself closure on the experience, and think about it, and glean any lessons that you learned from the experience. There was a really bad experience I had at one workplace, and what I learned is that some people are not okay, and that people are gullible, because there was a office gossip who said a whole lot of things, and people believe these whole lot of things, and then things I would hear, and I'd be like, oh my God, why? Why would you even believe that? That's insane, But that's how it worked there. And so there came a point where I was like, you know what? I've had enough of this drama. I'm gone. Just over it. Sad to leave the people I did like there, but the rest of it, you can have it. I'm done. Not my circus, not my monkeys. I'm done. Without closure, there is no resolution, and we are left to grieve, relive old memories to the point of frustration, or remain forever connected to people from our past. And that's why I say, if you don't get closure, you can make the closure yourself. Like I say, you can say, I don't know why this person did what they did to me, but I forgive them. Not for them, because they don't really deserve forgiveness, but for me, so I can get over it and move on. And sometimes you have to close it yourself, A sense of completion regarding a situation may also result when we accept that we have done our best. And sometimes that's true too. Like with, my charity that we started, we did our best. But we did not have enough community support. There were some people who donated. There were other people who did not. There were rumors going around that we weren't a real charity, but we certainly were. We had our little IRS letter, with your IRS number, which is your EIN. There's not a specific little number that they give you. There's a number on the letter and all that, but there's not. And other people are like, well, you need to see your number from the IRS. It's like, well, okay, which one do you want? Do you want the EIN? Do you want the one off the letter? What are you talking about? Because there's not a specific number, but evidently that's the conception that's gotten out there. But so we didn't have a lot of community support. We didn't get enough donations to really build a center like we wanted to. And then when I was not physically able to do it justice, we couldn't find a qualified person to take over who was honest. We did some checking on some resumes, and there were some problems that there was not facts happening there. And then, like I said, another agency was supposed to take over, but for some reason, I'm not going to say my opinion on why that is, they changed their mind. But we did the best we could, but it had to close. If you can't officially achieve closure with someone, you can create completion by participating in a closure ritual, like I was talking about with the balloon or the burning of the paper, throwing it away. Write a farewell letter to that person and then burn your note during a ceremony. So if you can't give that to the person, like I said, write it to them. You can say anything. Tell all your feelings. You can say whatever nasty thing you're thinking. And then put that on your grill and burn that sucker and let the ashes scatter to the wind. This ritual allows you to consciously honor and appreciate what has taken place between you and release the experience so you can move forward. Because sometimes people just don't give us reasons. They just walk out and we're left holding the bag, so to speak. And we might wonder, what's exactly the reasons. And no one, like I said, has to give you closure. So if they don't, you can make that closure yourself. Closure can help you let go of feelings of anger or uncertainty regarding your past, even as you honor your experience. And that's what you have to remember. Your experience was your experience. Everybody's got their own point of view, so everyone's experience is different. But your experience is the one that's valid for you, because it's what you lived and it's your experience. So you need to honor your experience. Don't let anybody else tell you your experience was not correct because they see it this way on that. No, they can see it that way. That's their point of view. That's their experience. Your experience is the one that matters to you because you've internalized your experience. So that's the important one. Everybody's, my dad used to say, let's see, how do you put this nicely? Points of view and opinions are like butts. Everyone's got one. He said it differently, but I think you know what I'm saying here. Whether good or bad, as a necessary step on your life's path. So, we're all going to the end, and we all have our own little path, that, God or the universe or your destiny or whatever has laid out for you. So each of these things that's happened is a step on your path. And you can acknowledge it and give yourself closure and move on. Closure allows you to emotionally lay to rest issues and feelings that may be weighing down your spirit. Because that's where, problems hit us, is in our emotions. So when you can give yourself closure, that will go a long way towards healing rather than sitting and wondering forever, why did this happen? You can be like, well, this happened. This person clearly doesn't want to tell me why this happened. So I'm moving on. And that's the best thing you can do for yourself. When you create closure, you affirm that you have done what was needed. And, you do. And that's all you can do. You are wiser because of the experience, and usually are. Usually you learn something, especially if you come in and out of a bad experience, and are ready for whatever life wants to bring you next. And that's why closure is important. And if you have had a situation where you didn't get closure, give yourself closure, because that's the best thing you can do for yourself mentally and emotionally, to move on with the next part of your life. So, when you're done with something, and you complete something, if you did not get closure from the situation or the person, give yourself that, and that'll open up the road to new beginnings for you. Think about it. Please like or share this so you can spread this wisdom around the world. If you want to help me out, subscribe to my YouTube channel. If you want to help me out even more, go to my Patreon page and become a patron. That's all for now. Until next time.